Welcome to another video. These are the final days of Shadowbringers, and of course I want to do something special or something that kind of reflects what I did on this channel for the last couple of years or the last 2 years over the decade of Shadowbringers. And yeah, what could be better than a tier list? And of course there will be other videos coming in the next days, so stay tuned for kind of special content before Endwalker, and then we will completely jump into the content there and go to the moon together. But yeah, first I want to do a final tier list. That means, basically how every job performed over the whole process of Shadowbringers. That means, was the summoner, for example, how strong was it at the start, how strong was it at patch 5.1, and so on, etc. Let me cover this, this time without a chat. This is just briefly me, my sole opinion, so take everything with a grain of salt. This is nothing that actually matters because Endwalker will just wash away all the balancing and grant a new one. We will have Reaper in there, we will have Sage in there, so stay tuned for that. And let's go. I would just say start with the Paladin as is on the list here. We will just go through these one after another, nothing super spectacular or special. So the Paladin, in my opinion, was super strong over the whole expansion. There were some up and downs with balancing, but overall I felt like from the first hour or first day of playing the Paladin in Shadowbringers, it felt super strong and offering basically everything you need. I think just on a high-end rating, maybe the Paladin is not the best, but on the other hand, Dark Knight has some problems there as well. So just due to the fact that maybe the really high-end tier raiders need a Gunbreaker for damage or for the passive self-mitigation and healing, which Paladin doesn't offer that good because of Clemency not being a thing in high-end raiding. Still, Clemency and all the sustain stuff and all the versatility in dungeons, the overall enjoyment and overall playstyle of this job over the whole expansion makes it so powerful. Like, you can do everything, every sort of content. You don't fall behind in high-end rating, so it's definitely an S tier for me. It's a personal thing. Some people may disagree. Momo, I know you will disagree with that, but over the whole expansion, I think Paladin is really strong choice. And let's make it short, Gunbreaker is as well. Gunbreaker is super strong, has the best damage output of all tanks over at least 3 or 4 big patches, was always rank 1 tank from damage alone. So I would say the best DPS tank with a lot of passive mitigation, passive self-healing. And I've seen Gunbreakers soloing dungeons or end bosses of dungeons, final bosses of dungeons. So I think that's also no problem, and a category where Gunbreaker can stay strong when you play it correctly and when you utilize all your self-sustain stuff correctly and in the right timing. The kind of same-ish applies to the Dark Knight. Oh, there's Gismo. Yeah, come here. Gismo wants to join the tier list. Okay, so Gizmo's here as well. He will raid the Dark Knight now. And the Dark Knight, you can't see Gizmo, here's Gizmo. So the Dark Knight, in my opinion, is super enjoyable to play and super fun to play because of all the power of the Blackest Night and how it works in dungeons and how it works with, when you actively mitigate stuff and when you succeed mitigating stuff. That's the big point here. And once you do that, it feels so rewarding and so like a complete job that you play. But every time you're not doing it, and especially with Living Dead, this is still a letdown ability for me, and I would hope for a change in Endwalker, that they kinda address this problem a bit, like, reduce that amount of healing or give the Dark Knight something that he can save for Living Dead to be able to heal up himself for that timing, and that would be awesome. If you can hear the cat, the microphone is very close to the cat, so maybe you hear Gizmo as well. He has an opinion on tier as well, I think. Okay, Warrior, super strong. Sorry, no, it's A tier. We can't put all of the tanks in S tier. I think the Warrior had ups and downs. So while in the recent patch and since patch 5.3 the warrior's S tier, I felt before that he could be somewhere here. So taking this into account, I would place it on A because it was not that powerful at the start of Shadowbringers, but had been significantly empowered by the self-sustain, by the feature of self-healing, being able to not be dependent on party members completely, like you can do all the solo stuff now without an actual party member in your party, and yeah, all the potion-like stuff being more useful now. It's really good, and yeah, the buff alignments that are really good features, and I would say for the overall expansion on the start, Warrior was lacking. Now it's super powerful. Right, Gizmo? Okay. Scholar. Yeah, I would say, even if I personally don't like it, I really learned a lot from Momo's breakdown on the Scholar on Endwalker, and since it hasn't changed so much from now, I feel like it's not bad. It's really strong when you can utilize its potential, and I feel I wouldn't put it S because it's not better in some ways than Astrologian and White Mage, but it definitely has its potential, and you can really do a lot of things passively, and you don't have to spend a lot of ether flow, for example, and you can save that for energy drain, use that for energy drain and damage output. So I guess it's a really tough choice to not put it anywhere on good spots here. A rank, I would say, it's if you can utilize its potential, it's A rank. Astrologian, on the other hand, overall, we had very ups and downs, but it had been so powerful in the last, let's say, a year maybe, and it actually was stronger than White Mage. At least when looking at the performance, the raw numbers, the damage output combined with RDPS and what you could heal in the same time as an Astrologian, when White Mages had to reduce healing output when they were completely focusing on damage. That was just so powerful. Like, Astrologian was a jack of all trades at the last moments of Shadowbringers. But on the other hand, on the same time, I would place White Mage there as well. I know that's complicated, I know some people disagree, and that's perfectly fine, you should do that. That's just my sole opinion, and you should have one as well. That's good. It's good if you have opinions, and if we have diverse opinions especially. And I think just from being super solid, super convenient to heal with the White Mage, especially if you're new to content, you can just have maybe 5 to 6 buttons that are your base kit of actual need, and then you have the Lily spells, you have the OGCDs that perfectly put in there or mix up with that and highlight your rotation a bit more on top of that. There's Mina, by the way, that's my other cat that you cannot actually see on camera. This is the first time seeing her, but yeah, she's kind of sleepy. Just a side note. Okay, so yeah, White Mage is definitely my S tier when you put Astrologian there. Otherwise, you could all put them to A, like the Scholar, and they are still balanced. I think the balancing was super strong in Shadowbringers, maybe the best balancing we ever had. But yeah, White Mage is still on top of there, and with good reason. Bard, in my opinion, we had problems. If there's any choice for a B tier, it's Bard, because it was lacking a lot of time and a lot of damage, and we had so many things that were confusing in the rotation, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should think about that in the song gauge. That didn't feel rewarding like it should, actually, because yeah, you're building it up, you're actually walking through at least 2 stances to get there, and then the reward with Apex Arrow, I don't know. Is it Apex Arrow? I actually don't know the name because it's so, yeah, it's not a real highlight. It's more like being a real highlight that you have barrage onto your big shot. That's definitely the bigger highlight for me, and always what I enjoy more on the Bard. So while I personally like the Bard, I like the song stances differences and how they feel different compared to each other. but personal damage is just lacking there. It's just lacking there, and it doesn't push up the damage of the party or a certain party member like a Dancer can. Let's put the Dancer next, because I think Dancer might be here, but S tier, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. I can't put a ranged physical DPS in an S spot right now. Yes, I know. You have to have the ranged physical, one of the ranged physicals in your party. You have to have one caster, one melee, or two caster, whatever. But if you compete the raw numbers, like when it actually doesn't matter, like party compositions don't matter, you can't put in a Dancer on S if there's potential for other jobs that are stronger. They're just stronger. Just like a Summoner that has more versatility, like raising potential, like much more damage output on the peak, and still buffing others. I don't know. It's so hard to say. It's so tough for me to make a decision here, but I would personally not put it there. That's my sole opinion. I hope you can stand it. Okay, so for me, Summoner here. Even if it may have fallen down in the last couple of months and maybe the last year actually, because it was balanced and had been balanced quite nicely, I would say that at the start at least, it was so powerful. Oh my god, that was so powerful. 5.1 changes were, I think 5.1 for the Summoner. This was the first time in Final Fantasy XIV I got this sensational moment of, and the feeling of, oh my god, this job is overpowered. That was the first time ever and the last time ever I felt like a job is actually overpowered. And that was definitely the Summoner. So from this fact alone, and because they haven't changed that for a whole 2-patch decade, it's S tier. It's definitely S tier. Red Mage, on the other hand, had been a bit weaker. Like, I think 3/4 of the expansion, it had been weaker than the Summoner. Right now it's on par with it, but as it has been weaker a very long time, I would say A. And it was still a very solid choice and a very personal good choice that I really enjoyed playing because of all the possibilities you have, all the flexibility, the movement, the alternation between your caster and melee rotation. But yeah, that's just playstyle. Like, the numbers you could pull off from a Red Mage were always, or a very long time, a bit behind the Summoner. And while I'm not a big raiding enthusiast, like not Ultimate Raider or, yeah, I just raided the first tier Savage and now the last tier and just 3 bosses of that, I always felt like this was the case. And I did a lot of extreme trials as well, where this has shown up and flared up, glared up actually. Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure. Summoner was always a bit stronger until now. The same goes for Black Mage. I feel like the Black Mage had the upper hand a long time, but yeah, as we had this patch decade of the Summoner being so strong, you could literally pull off higher numbers with the Summoner that you could pull up with a Black Mage, which should never happen. Never. Apart from that, maybe you could allow it here. I think if you would take a compromise, this would be it. But being personal right now, and I will just be personal on this one, maybe we'll have to increase the length of this chart here actually. I would say Black Mage is A. Yeah, I would put it A. The same goes for Dragoon. Dragoon had some very bad situations and bad times in Shadowbringers where I feel like it was lacking behind, especially the Samurai and also the Ninja from time to time. But it came back. It came back very strong right now, and the patches before that. But it hasn't reached the upper limits here. It's hard to tell for me. I would say it's A overall because of the Samurai being so strong right now. Yeah, of course, because this is a ranged physical. I would put it here. Ranged physicals, like I said, they were lacking. If you don't care about party compositions like in X-Trial farm parties, where party composition really doesn't matter that much. I always felt should I take a Bard or should I take a Machinist that pulls off some numbers? If I know some very good and very powerful summoners and red mages that can do the same numbers with support, with raising potential, that if anybody dies, even in a farm group, that helps a lot. That helps a lot with the flow, and that you don't wipe completely entirely, especially if 2 healers die. With Summoner and Red Mage you can still continue fighting, and that's not possible with any other job. So I would always think about, Red Mage, Summoner could be the better option apart from these. But yeah, it's personal. Like, it could also be here because sometimes very solid Machinist or the general Machinist player, I think, overall pulled up better numbers than the average Black Mage player because of Black Mage being so difficult to play and to utilize its potential. But yeah, when looking at the peak end, I would say the Black Mage is stronger, and Machinist it's not offering anything than just raw movement, raw flexibility for itself, and some defensive mitigation, which might be very powerful in ultimate raids. I don't know that. I can't tell you about this, but I feel like it's a bit better than gimmicky. Don't get it. Take it with a grain of salt. Like I said, it's just close for Endwalker. Everything will be washed away, so it doesn't matter that much. Monk. Okay, I would actually put it here because it was so badly designed at the start and so clunky, and finally they have been put it to somewhere here, but it's still lacking some potential compared to the Samurai, for example. So I'm really not sure. I would put it here, just to make not just be the physical range here at this spot alone, and have some assistance from melee roster here, because it was lacking. It was falling behind the Ninja, falling behind the Samurai, and also the Dragoon most of the times because of being so clunky. And even if you could utilize that clunkiness correctly, I felt like the reward was not there. And I'm really looking forward to the Endwalker changes. I've seen the videos, and yeah, of course, we will do a melee video for which job you should play in Endwalker as well in the next day, so stay tuned for that. And I'm really looking forward to the changes of the Monk, so I hope for a much better start for the Monk in Endwalker, and I believe it will be. So yeah, let's just hope the best there. Ninja, on the other hand, was super decent. I can't say it was anywhere overpowered at any moment like the Summoner was, for example, or maybe this one here. No, I can't put it back. Okay, let's put it somewhere here. But yeah, it wasn't stronger overall than a Dragoon, maybe sometimes, so it could be here in between that, and it felt to be better than the Monk overall. In the whole period of Shadowbringers, I felt like I would always choose a Ninja before I would choose to play a Monk. Not from the playset aspect, but for effectiveness, like being flexible with your jutsus and using them in ranged scenarios where you really need them, or you need to utilize ranged attacks properly. I would have always favored the Ninja over the Monk, and the same goes for the Dragoon as well, so I would put it here. It was really strong at I think 5.3 at the start, 5.3 or 5.4, I don't remember correctly, but I've seen many Ninja players being on the top position, even conquering Black Mage and Samurais, but that was very short, and I think that changed quite after 2 or 3 weeks, so a solid performance. And yeah, let's make it even. The Samurai had been the strongest choice you can do for a DPS, and it's not that difficult as a Black Mage. And I remember that it had overpowered the Black Mage for at least 2 big patches. And I still can see very high Samurai numbers that are at least in competition with the Black Mage. So I'm not sure. I would put it here because of being much less difficult to utilize as the Black Mage and being super solid overall. Like, from the start of Shadowbringers, Samurai was always on a very high position and very strong, and still is. So the strongest melee, in my opinion, that had rivalry with the Summoner in 5.1 and 5.2, and always conquered Black Mage, or at least was on par with it, but being utilized way more frequently. Like, in party finder scenarios, I think 90% of you can at least agree that there are more advanced and more expert Samurai players, or more Samurai players that are able to pull off good numbers with the Samurai than there are Black Mage players. I think that's not wrong. So that's my experience at least, and I think it's really the case and had been the case for Shadowbringers. And yeah, that's it, guys. How do you feel about this? Give me some feedback in the comment section. How do you feel about these jobs over the whole period of Shadowbringers? I'm really interested and curious to see your opinion on that. And of course, there will be more tier lists coming in Endwalker and job guides and all this stuff. And yeah, some very, very special videos in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for which melee job you should play in Endwalker. And 2 very special videos that are yeah, very important to be produced before Endwalker. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for your support. I hope that the quality is not lacking too much compared to my other tier list videos. And yeah, at least we had Mina on screen this time, which is a highlight for me, and maybe for some of you as well. She's very cute. Alright, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.